I am having voltage source. Okay, this is really positive voltage source because I am assuming this bottom portion as the ground. That means I took positive voltage source. Okay, so and again some elements are there. I assume this time for a moment, I assume everything is like a passive element. Okay, passive element like RLC. Okay, in general, passive element in general RLC will always absorb the energy. Please note down, very important, the passive element will always absorb the energy, will always absorb the energy. Why? Because why it will absorb the energy? Because what we are telling, whenever resistance is there, if the current flows like this, we simply put plus minus here. Suppose if the resistor is here, if the current flows like this, then simply put plus minus here. Then finally we are finding what is the power VI. Then that power loss will be there instantaneously. That power is lost whenever current is flowing. Definitely voltage will be developed here also. So for the same resistance, whether the current flows from this direction or from this direction, there is power loss. Okay, because simply because resistor is a bilateral element. Okay, so you can flip the resistance. Okay, then whatever the direction, we are not worried about the direction of the current. Somehow the voltage will be developed. Finally, it will dissipate the power. Okay, the resistors will always dissipate the power. And I made a mistake here. The only the resistance will always dissipates the power. Okay, see, resistance will always dissipate. That means it will absorb. It will absorb. Later you cannot get it back. Okay, it will absorb in the sense what? Later it will absorb and dissipate. Okay, see more clearly. This will absorb, then dissipate. I don't know what is the spelling. It will absorb and dissipate the energy. Okay, that energy is lost. You cannot recover back from the resistor. Or in case of inductor and capacitor, it is somewhat different because you can store the energy. It will absorb the energy and also it will give you the energy later. Okay, that is different scenario. Okay, so R means it will always absorb the energy, whatever may be there. Then again, we have a doubt here. Suppose if I take the battery like this, okay, battery I am taking, then what is this nature? What is this nature? It will provide energy. Okay, it will supply energy. It will supply energy because when it will supply the energy, see, if you are having voltage like this, if the current flows like this, it will supply the energy. Or based on the circuit condition, if you are having more than one voltage source, say if you are having more than one voltage source, sometime in order to satisfy the KVL and KCL, sometime the current may be forced, the real current may be forced inside the battery. Okay, the real current may go into the battery because in this case the real current I is coming out of the battery, so it will supply the energy. Okay, so now what will happen? See, in the first case it is supplying the energy, in the second case it will absorb the energy. Okay, it will absorb the energy. That thing you should understand properly. See, battery means don't always think that it will supply the energy. If the need arises, it will also absorb the energy. Again, don't ask questions, sir. It is absorbing the energy, then later it will give extra energy, extra voltage. It's not like that. It will simply absorb the energy. Later also it will provide V only. Later also it will provide V only. Again, whenever resistor is there, then that energy is completely lost. Okay, completely. So you got some one new idea here. So whenever voltage is there, don't think that it will always supply the energy. It will also absorb the energy. So when I take some complicated problem in future, if there is more than one voltage sources, I will show you the sources. Some sources may be supplying the energy, some sources may be absorbing the energy. Okay, to prove this only, there is the theorem called Telligence theorem. Telligence theorem is there. Okay, so there I will clarify to you. Okay, now for a moment I assume everything is a resistance. Okay, everything is a resistance. Then definitely if the current flows like this, because all resistor will absorb the energy, the current flows like this, then for a resistance, the current that is entering into this terminal, that I will put plus, the current leaving this resistance, there I will put minus. This is like a voltage drop across the resistor. This is like a voltage drop. Now here plus, here minus, here plus, here minus, because current is coming in this way. Here plus, here minus. Okay, so with this, Okay, so then how to apply the KVL? How to apply the KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law? Now, again, there is very simple way. You start from here. Okay, you go there. What you are observing first? First you are observing minus, then minus V naught. Then what you are observing? Say this voltage drop. I don't know how much is the voltage drop. Simply I put V1. This is V2. This is V3. This is V4. Okay, now I go in this way. First minus is there, minus V naught. Then I go here. I am seeing plus. So that is plus V1. Then plus V2. Okay, then again I come here plus V3, then plus V4, then finally it is 0. This is that concept. Algebraic sum of voltage in the loop is equal to 0. Algebraic sum of voltage in the loop is whatever it is there, I am putting directly. Okay, then again you know that mathematics, so you can write like this: V1, V2, V3, V4. Okay, now here V0 is the voltage supplied, V1, V2, V3, V4 is the voltage absorbed by the element. Okay, in some textbook they will use to write in the different manner because they will play with the mathematics. Because you are having this equation, simply they will write the equation like this. Both are okay. Sometimes they used to write equation, just they are multiplying with the minus everywhere. Okay, then you get the equation like this. That is also okay. Then how they are writing that equation? They used to write like this. What they are telling, whenever you go from minus to plus, okay, you are going from low energy to high energy. That means you are gaining the energy. Okay, minus to plus you are going, so you are gaining the energy. When you gain the energy, you put plus V naught. You are gaining the energy. Then when you go from plus to minus, you are going from higher energy to lower energy. Then you are losing the energy. So you put minus V1. Again, higher energy to lower energy, you put minus V2, put minus V3, put minus V4 equal to 0. Everything is okay. So I suggest you to follow this pattern. This is because here you will not have any confusion. Directly, if minus is there, minus, plus is there, plus. Extra encoding and all not required here. Okay, so anyway, you'll get the same answer. You'll get the correct answer everywhere. Then my next question is, this is based on which law? The KVL actually working on some law. Based on which law it is working? Okay, somebody tell me from where the voltage is derived. What is the definition of voltage? Can anybody tell?
Ohm's law,
From
sir.
EMT point of view.
Work done by charge.
Yes, very good. The voltage is equal to work done divided by charge. Okay, so and again when my current is going like this, my current is not changing because all these resistance are in serial format. Okay, everything is in series. When my current is going like this, here this element, these two elements are series, these two are series. Again, everything is series. So whatever the current I am having, the same current is circulating here. Now, when the current is constant, what is constant, sir? Can I take when the current is constant, charge is constant, the movement of the charge, how much charge is moving on this line, is it not constant? Because I is equal to what? Q by T. I is equal to what? Q by T. When current is constant, that means constant amount of charge is moving everywhere on the line. So once if it is constant, if I forget this, okay, now I am writing algebraic sum of voltage is equal to 0. Can I write algebraic sum of energy is equal to 0? Okay, I can write because my current is constant. Here, when I apply KVL, when I apply Kirchhoff voltage law, my current is constant. So my movement of the charge is constant. How much charge is moving? See, what is the charge is constant means what, sir? If there is 10 coulombs are here also 10 coulomb will be there. Okay, if 10 coulomb is moving here, same 10 coulomb will move here also. Same 10 coulomb will move here also. That is the concept of current. Okay, that is the concept of constant current. Okay, current is constant, charge is constant. But whenever you have a parallel combination, you cannot assure that. Okay, here maybe 10 coulomb, in another branch it may be 5 coulomb because current is different, then charge may be different. Okay, so the charge is same. So algebraic sum of voltage is equal to 0. So that I can write like this also, algebraic sum of work is also 0. So that means what they are telling, KVL is based on law of conservation of energy. KVL is based on, finally what they are telling, KVL based on law of conservation of energy. Very, very important. In the exam, they will ask this. KVL is based on law of conservation of energy. They cannot ask KVL directly because everyone knows what is KVL. KVL works based on what? It works based on the conservation of energy, conservation of the energy. That means very simple, sir. Whatever the energy that is applied by this, it has to be absorbed by all these things. That is the idea of law of conservation of energy. Okay. Now, can I go to KCL, Kirchhoff current law? In the concept, Purida, KVL is based on the conservation of energy.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one is Kirchhoff current law. Kirchhoff current law. Again, here by definition, algebraic sum of current at node, algebraic sum of current at node is equal to 0, or current entering is equal to current leaving. Okay, because you know, whenever there are loops, there may be nodes also in the circuit. Whenever you have a node, there may be some incoming branch, some outgoing branches. Okay, some incoming branches are like this. If these are all like outgoing branch. Okay, say this is I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. Okay, because I'm not worried about what the element connected there, but I know the current. Somehow I know the current. Once if I know the current, then only I can apply the KCL. Without knowing the current, I cannot apply the KCL, because to apply KCL, that means that similarity is like a nodal equation. Once if you want to write the nodal equation, you should know what is the current going. Then how to find out the current, that is different scenario. Okay, so the current entering is equal to current leaving, or otherwise algebraic sum of the current at the node is equal to 0. Whenever algebraic sum means you have to put some sign convention. The entering you can take it as a plus, leaving you can take it as a minus. So if it is like that, I1 plus I2, then I3 is leaving, so that I will put minus I3, minus I4, and minus I5 is equal to 0. Or mathematically you can write like this: I1 plus I2 is equal to I3 plus I4 plus I5. Or directly also you can write current entering is equal to current leaving. What is the current entering? I1 and I2 is entering, and the remaining everything is leaving, I4 plus I5. Now the question is, then it is working based on which law? What is the law behind this? Okay, now see, you are having a node, some current is coming, some current is coming, some current is going. Okay, say for example, 10 coulomb of charge is coming here 5 coulomb of charge is coming here, because both are not necessarily to be same, because they are on the different branch, they can be same or different. Okay, then if it is 10 coulomb, if it is 5 coulomb, definitely this has to be 15 coulomb. Definitely this has to be 15 coulomb, because if this is my current I1, this is my current I2, definitely I1 plus I2 is equal to I3. So if it is 10 coulomb, if it is 5 coulomb, then this has to be 15 coulomb. Then one thing is clear: whatever the charge that is coming to this node, it is just getting transferred. It is not stored. It is not getting stored. It is not getting stored at the node. Okay, so the node cannot store the charge. Okay, the node, simple node, cannot store the charge. Okay, it is simply, it is directing. Okay, income, it is taking the incoming charge, it is directing on the other path. That's it. Okay, because that's why they used to tell, whenever node is there should be at least 2 branch. Okay, 2 connections should be there. Whenever node is there, at least how many connections should be there? 2 connections. That's why if something is coming, then it can also go out. Okay, for a node, at least 2 branch has to be there. The minimum for a node, at least minimum, there should be meeting of 2 branches. Okay, so that means you cannot store any charge here. Okay, that means KCL is based on the conservation of charge. KCL is based on conservation of charge. That means whatever the charge that is coming, that is going there, it is not getting stored here. So KCL is based on conservation of charge. Very important. And the conservation of energy, the conservation of charge. KCL is based on the conservation of charge. Okay, simply you can imagine the node, because node cannot store the charge. Okay, because whatever the charge coming, that has to be directed into the other path. That means that is following the conservation of charge principles, conservation of the charge. Okay, next topic is resistor in series. Okay, resistor in series. resistor in series. Okay, suppose if I am having resistance like this, then what is the effective resistance? Okay, they will ask what is the effective resistance, like what is the R equivalent. If this is R1, this is R2, this is R3, you know this R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. But you should know one more trick also you should know, because you can use the trick in the exam, that R equivalent, okay, that R equivalent is greater than the largest of R1, R2, R3. Okay, very simple. You can take any resistance, 10 ohm, 100 ohm, 200 ohm. You take any resistance, then you find R equivalent. What is the R equivalent, sir? The R equivalent will be 310 ohm, 310 ohm. Is it not greater than 200? Because the largest resistance here is 200. So it is definitely greater than the largest resistance available in the series circuit. You should know this trick, because suppose if they are giving this problem in the competitive exam, again you know how to solve this, but I will solve some tricky problem with this concept later. Okay, then if the answer everything is less than 200, then you can neglect that answer. Okay, if three options they given less than 200, then without doing any algebra, mathematics, you can neglect that option. Okay, you can choose the option that is greater than the 200. That's why this trick is needed. Okay, so please remember this trick whenever resistance are in series. This is not the trick, it is introduced in the lower class itself, but you are not utilizing it properly at the right time in the exam. Okay, R equivalent is greater than the largest of the largest resistance available in the circuit. Okay, the next one is resistor in parallel. Resistor in parallel. Okay, there are resistance in parallel format like this, say R1, R2, and then how to know the R equivalent. R equivalent, the R equivalent value 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Again, you know, R equivalent can be, again, what is this? R1, R2 divided by R1 plus R2, I think. Okay, so that's okay. Finally, what is the trick? The R equivalent is lesser than the smallest resistance available in the circuit. Smallest resistance available in the circuit. You can take the example. You take R1 is equal to 6 ohm. R2 is equal to 3 ohm. What is the answer? Anybody? Once if you take like this, what is the answer? 2 ohm. If you make parallel combination, what is the answer, sir?
2 ohm, sir.
Yes, 2 ohm. Once if we take like this, the answer is 2 ohm. Is it not less than the smallest resistance available in the circuit? The smallest resistance available in the circuit is 3 ohm. It is less than this one only. So without any calculation, your answer has to be less than 3. Okay, then what is the exact answer? For that you have to use the formula. Okay, but you should know what should be your answer. If you are by mistake, if you are getting 4, 5, that is very much wrong. Okay, some problem is there in your mathematics. So R equivalent is smaller than the smallest resistance of the less than the smallest of R1 or R2, R1 or R2. Okay. Yes, again, in competitive exam, some trick is there. Whenever you know, if this is 10 ohm, this is 10 ohm, then what is the equivalent resistance? Okay. If it both are 10 ohm, then what is the equivalent resistance? Simply 5 ohm, half of the resistance. Even if you do the calculation, that will come like this. Okay, even if you do the calculation, that will come like this. And then next simple idea is, whenever I take resistance, okay, I take twice the resistance. Okay, then what should be the value? Okay, if you do this max, what it will come, sir? What is the effective resistance? Anybody?
2 by 3, sir.
Yes, 2R square divided by 3R. It will be 2 by 3R. Yes, sir. It is 2 by 3R. Most of the time you will get this situation, because I have also given this situation. How much resistance I have given? This is 3, then this is 6, then definitely that is 2 by 3 into R. Okay, that R is smallest R. So that's why you got 2 ohms there. Okay, so whenever you have resistance and twice the resistance, okay, without doing this, simply you can remember this, you can use this, because most of the time you will get this combination. Okay, R and 2R combination like that. Okay, so next one is voltage division rule. Okay, so this voltage division rule is applicable only when the resistors are in series. Okay, when you can apply the voltage division rule, applicable, you cannot apply everywhere. Applicable only resistance are in series. Resistance are in series with respect to source. With respect to whom? With respect to source. Again, I am having, before going to the voltage division, I am having one more doubt. Okay, as somebody tell me, suppose if I am having some voltage source here, 10 volt, I am having 5 ohm resistance, because you will have doubt now, what is series, what is parallel? Okay, is there any definition? Okay, or by just visualization we should share, okay, so and can somebody tell me what is this? Is it series or parallel, these two? With
Series, sir.
again, I am having two elements, sir. I am having two elements. One is voltage source, another one is resistance. Okay, I have connected the two elements like this. Now, are they in parallel or are they in series?
Both, sir.
Yes, both is correct. They are parallel as well as they are series. But when you look into this, it looks like it is parallel. That's okay, because you can write like this. When you put the node like this, okay, then it's completely parallel. Both are parallel. Okay, that's okay. When it is parallel, same voltage will be applied here. 10 volt will be applied. Again, you know 10 voltage, then how much current will flow, that you can calculate, no problem. Suppose I calculate the current, because I applied the parallel law, 10 volt, I calculated the current. How much current is flowing? 2 ampere current is flowing. Here also 2 ampere current will flow. Here also 2 ampere current will flow. Here also 2 ampere current will flow. Then what the concept is telling, whenever you have the element in series, the current through that element will be same. Okay, I told you, whenever you have a series element, with respect to something, then what is same? I is same. What is same? I is same. And whenever you have a parallel element, what is same? Voltage is same. Okay, but this structure is satisfying both series as well as parallel. That's why this is like a special case. Okay, this I can call it as a series as well as parallel. Series as well as parallel. Okay, series as well as parallel. Now the next question arises. Say for example, if it is like this, if the voltage source is like this, then all this, with respect to these three elements, one more voltage source is there here, 10 volt, whether all are series or parallel combination. Once if we compute, okay, current will be same here, but voltage is not same. Voltage will be really different. Okay, here you will get some other voltage, here some other voltage you will get, here some other voltage. But because the voltages are not same here, with respect to this, you are having some different voltages. So I cannot say everything is parallel, but I can say everything is in series combination. So in future, you should know how to apply the concept. Just by looking into this, you can tell, and also you have to apply that concept, whether current remains same or whether voltage remains same. Okay, so now I take the series combination. Yes, to apply the voltage division, I take the series combination of the resistance. Okay, now R1 and R2 is connected in series. Now I am having some voltage source. Okay, the voltage source value is V1. I am having some voltage source. The voltage source value is simply not V1. Say I take V, the voltage source value, some voltage source V. Now I want to calculate, again, there are many procedures are available. You can apply KVL, KCL, finally you can find out the voltage. KVL also you can apply, KCL you can apply, or nodal you can apply, anything you can apply. But this is the voltage division rule, how to apply the voltage division rule. But I know one thing, whenever voltage is there, that voltage will be distributed across this resistance. Okay, so because in the series, the voltage will vary, but the current will remain constant. Okay, whenever the elements are in series, the current remains constant. The current I is same everywhere. Whatever the current that is flowing there, same current will come here that is flowing in the circuit, but the voltage will vary. I don't know what is the value of this voltage. Simply I put V1 and V2, but this voltage, with this voltage division principle, you can precisely calculate what is the voltage. So if more the source voltage, more the voltage will appear here. So V1 is equal to V. If more the resistance, more voltage will be there across that. So R1 then divided by total resistance. Okay, because V is directly proportional to IR when I is constant. Okay, when I is constant, whenever in series the I is constant, then my voltage is directly proportional to the resistance. That's why that resistance is coming in. Okay, coming in proportionality. Okay, when you calculate V1, then depends on the R1. If more the R, more the resistance, more the R, more the voltage across that resistance. And also it depends on the source also, because if the source is more, then also I'll get the more voltage. Okay, more voltage. Then it has to be divided across R1 and R2. That's why in the denominator I am putting R1 plus R2. Okay, in the denominator I am putting R1 plus R2, because entire voltage cannot apply here. Okay, so R1 divided by R2. Then what should be the value of V2? That is simply VR2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay, so now I'll take simple problem, simple question. Suppose if it is a 6 ohm, if it is 4 ohm, then I am having 10 volt source. 10 volt source. Okay, then very easily I can calculate what is the voltage across the 6 ohm. That will be 6 volt. Okay, I am taking 10 volt source. Then what is the voltage across 4 ohm? That will be 4 volt. Okay, so because this 10 volt has to be distributed here. Okay, somehow. So here it will be 6 volt. Even if you apply this, that will be like here this is 6 volt, here this is 4 volt. Okay, so it will be proportionally, it will be distributed. Okay, in the proportional manner. If it is 20 volt, okay, see, if my source is 10 volt, it is getting distributed like this. If my source is 20 volt, then it will be distributed like this, 12 volt, and then this will be like 8 volt. Okay, it will be distributed like this. Okay, this is the voltage division principle. Okay, without applying any other law, KVL, KCL, directly you can find the voltage across the element. But this is applicable only when the elements are in series. Okay, you cannot apply everywhere. You cannot apply the voltage division everywhere. Okay, you can apply the voltage division only resistance are in series with the source. Resistor has to be in series with the source. Then only you can apply the voltage division. Okay, then what is the next one? Next one is like a current division. Current division. Okay, so what the current division? Okay, whenever you deal about the current division, you should take the current source. Okay, you have to take the current source. It's better I take the current source. You can take the voltage source also, but that is somewhat confusing. That's why I take current source. Okay, if the current is like this. Okay, now this is R1, this is R2. Now I is the current that is coming like this, and then that is distributed into like I1 and I2. Okay, I1 and I2. Now I want to know what is I1. Okay, so now my I1 is directly proportional to I source current. If my source current is more, I will get more current. Okay, then one thing is clear, when your resistance is less, you will get more current. When your resistance is less, you will get, because out of these two resistance, which resistance will get more current, which resistance will get less current. Okay, that depends on that resistance value. Okay, if your resistance is less, you will get more current. Okay, so I1 is equal to I into opposite resistance. Okay, opposite resistance divided by total resistance, opposite resistance divided by total resistance. Now, then what is I2? I2 is equal to I into, for I2, which one is opposite resistance? R1. Which one is opposite resistance? R1 divided by R1 plus R2. R1 plus R2. Then how to apply? Say, again, this you can apply even in any circuit. Whenever you have a circuit, if some current is coming like this, say 9 ampere is coming like this, okay, then out of this is 3 ohm, okay, sorry, wait a bit, this is 3 ohm and this is 6 ohm, okay, yes. Now somebody tell me which will get the more current, which will get less current.
First one is more current, sir.
First one is
Yes.
more current.
More
Yes,
current.
correct. First one will get the more current because its resistance is less. Okay, so I 3 ohm is equal to 9 ampere. Opposite resistance is 6 divided by 9. So that will get 6 ampere. I is 6 ohm. Okay, now here I am calculating the current. Then 9 ampere. Opposite resistance is 3 divided by total resistance. Now this is 3 ohm. Okay, so if the resistance value is less, whenever you apply the current division, if the resistance value is less, it will get more current. If the resistance value is less, it will get more current. If the resistance value is more, it will get the less current. Then also you should know how to apply the current division. Okay, whenever you apply the current division, opposite resistance divided by the total. Yes, sir.
3
Here
amps.
it is. Yes, amps. Opposite resistance divided by total resistance. That idea you should know. Okay. Yes, again, there are proofs are there to prove this. Okay, so okay, again, you can also prove this with a simple example. You can prove this. Okay, by applying KVL, KCL, Ohm's law, you can prove this. Okay, then I will take some different problem. Okay, you think over that problem. Tomorrow, if possible, you come up with the answer. Okay, so when I have a resistor combination like this, say if I am having resistance like this, very quickly I will tell little fast. Okay, now if somebody asks, okay, what is the equivalent resistance here? Yes, sir. If somebody asks what is the equivalent resistance, you can easily tell because this is parallel again and again this is series. Then very quickly you will tell the answer. Okay, so 8 ohm is the answer. Now my question is there any other way without doing like this? Is there any other way to tell the answer? Okay, can I do in some other manner? Okay, what I am telling, you take, now I am going to take this as a network. You take this as a network. Now you know what is there inside the network. You know what is there inside the network. Okay, now you apply some known voltage. Okay, you know what is this V. Okay, that could be either 1 volt, 2 volt, like that. Okay, let it be 1 volt also. It can be anything. Okay, 1 volt. Now you know what is the current drawn from this voltage source. Now you are connecting your network to one voltage source. Once if you connect, immediately the current will be drawn. Okay, yes sir, is it not? The current will be drawn. Now what I am telling, instead of looking into this element with this V and I, now the V is in your hand. I you can measure with the multimeter. You can measure with the multimeter how much current is drawn. So without looking into the network, the R equivalent is equal to V by I. Is it not, sir? That also will be same. That also 8 ohm only. Can you prove this tomorrow? What I am telling, you take this network, you take some voltage source, a realistic voltage source. Let it be 1 volt also. Okay, V can be 1 volt. If V is 1 volt, in the numerator you can take 1 volt. Then definitely you will get some current because you cannot decide the current. If it is 1 volt, the current not necessarily to be 1 ampere. It can be anything. Okay, if this is 1 volt, then you will get some current. Okay, the current has to be 1 by 8 ampere. Then only you will get what, sir? 8 ohm. So you take this exercise, you take this network, you apply 1 voltage source, you go by any method, mesh analysis, nodal analysis, or whatever the things that you know, you apply any method. Finally, what I want, I need how much current. My voltage is 1 volt. Then also what I am telling, the V and I will be 8 ohm. Why? Because in future, you will have a network like this. For those network, by looking into the network, you cannot tell what is the answer. Okay, in future, you will have a complicated network. By looking into the network, just like that, you cannot tell the answer. Even by working out in the paper and pencil, you cannot tell the answer. You need this idea. Okay, you need this idea. So you take this example today. You just try to find out the, and again you try to take different voltage, or 5 volt, 10 volt. Then you will get different current. Then also that R equivalent will be 8 ohm only, because you are connecting this network, because the nature of this network R equivalent is 8 ohm only. So on the exercise konjam pannunga, then you will get some idea. Okay, because I will give you one more problem just to try it out. Suppose if I am taking the cube like this, I am connecting resistance across the edges. Okay, how many edges will be there? 12 edges will be there. I am connecting resistance across the edges. 12 edges will be there. Everywhere I am connecting the resistance. Okay, say that resistance value is 1 ohm. I am connecting. Finally, what I am going to do, I will connect this terminal with this terminal. With again, if it is that terminal, then I take this terminal and this terminal. Now I want to know what is the equivalent resistance. What is the equivalent resistance? You go by any method, then you just try to find out the what is the R equivalent value. Okay, now my R is 1 ohm. What is the effective resistance? One simple idea is you connect some source. Okay, practically you connect some source, then some current will go, then R is equal to V by I. That is the idea. Okay, you apply that idea, then try to find out the resistance. Or otherwise, if you have some other idea here, you put some nodes there, then something may come parallel or series, then you put some imagination, then you come up with the answer R equivalent. Okay, you come up with the R equivalent. Okay, you can go by any method, you just try to find out the answer. This is like a standard question you'll get in the network theory exam. Okay, so time is less, so I will finish with this. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay.